Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Wage and Iverson. We're continuing with the Augment tier list. Today's video is going to be the Golden Augment tier list, and I'll try and do a Prismatic Augment tier list by next time. So, yeah, if you guys are enjoying the videos, let me know in the comments, and yeah, we'll keep at it. There's a lot of Gold Augments, I think more than Silver and Pris, so try to bang this out quickly. Make it not like an hour and a half long video. So let's get into it. Anyway, starting off with 3/3s, this augment recently got nerfed. It used to give like 8 gold, now it gives 3 gold, which is a pretty significant nerf. That being said, if you're poor on 4/2, I do feel like it's still one of the best augments that you can hit. I think I'm gonna put it like solidly in the A tier. Because like a lot of like fast 9 scenarios where you need money, or if you're just like poor on 4/2, then you are gonna be clicking this like quite often, I feel like. So I'll put it in A tier. Magic Roll, I'll put it in the B tier. The 4 components is really, really good. I think the HP is pretty underpowered, and the pile of champions can be good, can be bad. Kind of depends like how much you need econ or like how bad your board is, or what champions you get. So yeah, I think it's solidly in like the B tier, and yeah, I'd say the 4 components is really like the high roll outcome, and the HP is usually like the low roll outcome. Advanced Loan, this is definitely one of the worst econ augments. Sorry, let me just change this to F tier really quick. Yeah, I mean, like sometimes you're definitely clicking this. Some like C tier is like not unclickable. Like, I hope you guys don't think that, but I will put this in C tier just because I feel like it's one of the worst econ augments on 2-1. Like 20 gold is not that crazy. Like if you compare it to Raining Gold, like obviously it's better, but Raining Gold is what, like 7 gold plus 1 per turn. This is like extra gold, but then your next augment, like being 1 tier lower, can really, really hurt you, especially if it's like a Perzog on 3/2 and you low roll. That can kind of like ruin your game sometimes. So I'll put it C tier. Advanced Loan Plus, I do feel quite similarly. Okay, maybe just because they're econ augments, and like sometimes you just have to take an econ augment, I'll put them in like B tier, but just know that these are like some of the worst econ augments, and usually if you get offered other econ, you're taking it over these. Arcane Victory, I think this is like also borderline B or C tier. I think it's like a pretty mid combat augment. If your opponents have like Titans or QSS on their carry, it becomes a lot worse. If they don't, it can sometimes be like pretty decent. I will put it in C tier though, just because I feel like I'm like never clicking this on 3/2, and yeah, even on 4/2, it's kind of like a mid combat. Ascension recently got buffed. I don't think it's anything crazy. It's usually about like a 15% damage buff after like 20 seconds, and then like a 20 percent damage buff after like 25 seconds, something like that. Maybe like a little bit less. So yeah, if the fight goes like 25 seconds, it's like a very solid augment. If the fight goes 20 seconds, it's just kind of okay. The buff definitely helped it though. It used to be like down here in like C or F tier or something. I would bring it up a bit. I think aura farming is just F tier. The downside of the augment is just like way too big, and like the upside is not that big. Like a Senna 2 or Fiddle 2 can't like make a terrible board like good. Like those are more like supportive units. Same thing with Ornn and Azir. Like you're just kind of getting them too late. So I think it's just not very good in this set because the 5 costs are more like supportive and don't carry as much. Vandal Bounty feels like a weird one to rank. If you're in a spot to get to 10 Yordle, then you can like instantly win the game with it. If you're not in a spot, it's a lot worse. I do know like the Prismatic one is a lot better in the stats. I'll put it in B tier just because I feel like it's very rare that you're in a spot to take this, even if you have Yordles on your board. Calculus should be a solid A tier augment. This is like one of the best augments they can get offered if you're weak. You can play a lot of things like Ishtal reroll, anything with like unlocking Bard. Also, if you just have like 2 Voids on your board, you can just AFK with 2 Void, play like Kaisa Slayers. So very solid econ option. Care Package I'll be putting in the S tier. Ever since this augment got released, I think it's really, really good. The small Nikos are super valuable. The Reforgers are super valuable. By the end of the game, it gives you like 4 components, which is like insane value for a gold augment, plus some like extra gold or like Reforgers or other stuff. So yeah, I think this augment is just like really good. I feel like I very rarely skip it. Celestial Blessing, also kind of a mid combat augment. It's like definitely better in Slayers, helps you get Aatrox unlock. Specifically for also when there's more backline access, I think it can be better. Maybe right now, like because there's no backline access, I wouldn't really see myself taking this in anything except for Slayers. So I'll just put it in the C tier. Chaos Magic actually recently got removed from the game, so I'll skip that one. Clear Mind actually might be the worst econ augment, so I will put it in C tier. Cluttered Mind, however, is really good. You could argue even S tier, I think, because a lot of the later econ augments got nerfed on this patch, so... but I will just put it in the top of A tier. Maybe S tier can be like a bit more exclusive. But yeah, definitely these like solid 2-1 econs are extremely valuable on this patch after they nerfed a lot of the like 3-3s, reinforcement, commerce core type of like 4-2 econ augments recently. Constructed Companion is solid in Demacia, not really good in much else. I will put it B tier. I'll say in Demacia, it's probably like an A tier, like maybe even S tier augment, depending on your spot. But yeah, in general, there's not too many uses for it. Otherwise, I feel like Cooking Pot is probably F tier right now. Pans are actually pretty solid, but there's not really any reroll comps in the meta that or any unit that you can just like feed for a long time and feel really good about it. If you somehow have like a Rise Portal or just like a million emblems from like Trait Tree or something, it could be decent, but generally the Augment is pretty underpowered. Cosmic Calling Acel is pretty bad. Yeah, Acel's pretty bad. I don't think it's quite an F tier augment though. Like the augment itself actually, like it gives like 7 gold plus an item, which is like very solid for like a gold, like especially if you consider that the gold is like the units that so yeah, if you're in a spot where you're like Leona pair on 3-2 or something like that, then I think this could sometimes be clickable. These I feel like I'm like almost never clicking them. C tier is definitely sometimes clickable, but not really like preferred. Moving on to Crash Test Dummies, yeah, also like a very like pretty bad combat augment, I would say. The dummies can count towards some stuff like Shadow Isles, but yeah, even then, like I don't think this. Even if your frontline is weak, like I think this augment is just like pretty underpowered in general. I would say. Crowd's Will is fine. I would say, yeah, it's just fine. Like if you're in an 80 heavy lobby, it can be better. And yeah, if you can like use the rod to like slam, like I feel like I'm taking this reasonably often. Like let's say I'm playing like Ishtal reroll and like I want an item augment and maybe this is all I get offered, then like I would be taking it, or just any sort of like AP and looking for like items or something. Cry Me a River, I'm definitely not taking this very often. I think this is like C tier. Sometimes if it gives you like whatever Shojin blue buff slam on 2-1 to like try and win streak, then it can be a little acceptable. But yeah, generally I think it's pretty underpowered, and there's not really a lot of comps that can use it very well. Dark Will's Invasion, I'll also put this in the C tier. I think like 15% for a gold is really just not that good, even if you're always getting 15%. Like something like Know Your Enemy is 15% and you get to see your opponent. Or like, yeah, a lot of these like gold augments, if you just like run sims on them, they tend to be like a lot more than 15% damage on your team. Like Glass Cannon, for example, is like 30%. So I think it's like clickable. Like these C tier combat augments are definitely like clickable given the right spot, but I'm not taking them very often, is kind of how I would describe it. Deadlier Blades Prismatic, same thing with Deadlier Caps, we can skip over those. Defense of the Placidium, I think I would also similarly put this in C tier. Sorry about that. Not sure what's going on with my browser when I try and film these videos. Might have to swap to something else, but yeah, going back to Defense of the Placidium, if you compare it to something like Gilded Steel, which is like similar durability while also granting 3-5 costs, I feel like I would have to be much higher up on like the new Gilded Steel than on Defense of the Placidium. So I think I will put it in B tier because yeah, I just think like these kind of like mid combat augments are probably mostly going to fall into the C tier. Like if I don't feel like I'm taking them very often. Demacia Forever, Sona Jarvan reroll is a lot less in the meta. I feel like I'm only taking this if it gives me like multiple Demacia upgrades. I also think this augment got nerfed like really hard, and yeah, it's not really that good anymore. I do think like if you're getting the upgrades, you can take it. So yeah, I do feel like this is also a B or C tier augment. Maybe I'll put it in C tier. Double Trouble's really good right now with Malzahar. I will put it in A tier just because you kind of need like you need Nucleus to play Double Trouble Malzahar, I would say, which means that you would need to like know that you have Nucleus. So it is a pretty specific spot, and maybe like AP items. Like you can't click Double Trouble every time you're offered it. It's not that OP. But yeah, Double Trouble Malzahar is very solid in the meta. Duo Q, I think is A or S tier. Maybe not S tier. I'll put it in A tier. You definitely are skipping this sometimes, but there's a lot of like Bilgewater, Ionia comps that like absolutely love to click Duo Q, and they love like the 5 costs. Have a lot of open slots. So yeah, I think Duo Q is like a very very good augment. Early Learnings was mostly really good for Jarvan and Sona reroll, which has kind of fallen out of the meta after the Sona nerfs. That being said, like I do think this is like a pretty decent augment, even just to like tempo with. Like I remember I had one tournament game where I clicked like Spoils of War for some reason, and I should have just taken Early Learnings, even though I was playing like Lysera, which doesn't have like a single one cost on your board. But I think if I had taken Early Learnings that game, it would have gone like a lot better. So yeah, I do think you are allowed to tempo with it, and maybe like even though Jarvan Sona is out of the meta, if you're in a spot for it, I would imagine you could still play it with Early Learnings, just because this augment gives so much value to that comp. So I'll put it in B tier. Next, we have Epic Rolldown, which also recently got nerfed. I think I'm putting it in B or C tier. I think the thing about this augment is that it's just like a little bit awkward because it's like very slow, and like yeah, it lets you hit your entire board on level 8, but you're kind of playing without an augment for stage 3, and like what board is like so strong on level 8 that like you're willing to like take Epic Roll Down and just wait. So it would have to be like some sort of spot where you're like sacking anyways, or I see people like play for 3-star 4 cost pretty frequently with like Epic Roll Down plus like other econ augments. I do feel like I'm not really taking this that often unless because like if you're like really poor and you get offered Epic Roll Down, you actually can't take it because you won't be able to like get to level 8 with enough gold to roll down. So yeah, I feel like this is mostly just like a 3-star 4 cost augment. Epoch, very solid. The value of a 2-1 gold augment is super high. If you have no board, this lets you like roll for a board plus bard at the same time. So yeah, really good. 3-2 Epoch, also a very, very solid econ augment. I feel like clicking a lot of like 2-1, 3-2 econs in this current meta. Evolve and Overcome, I think like in the Mortdog meta report, like statistically, this one is like S tier, but I think I would probably put it in the A tier. The nice thing is like if you have no board, you can take this and it like gives you a board. But you kind of want to know your void mods before you take it. And yeah, I do feel like if I have like strong direction, like I'm not like taking this and like selling like an upgraded Ionia opener or something. Like that would be like crazy. So yeah, I don't think it's that OP. I think it's just like solid if you have no board. Exclusive customization. Can I put this in the S tier? I think it's really good. I think I'll leave it in the A tier, and we can leave the S tier pretty exclusive. But yeah, 10 gold plus full item is just a lot for a gold augment. So yeah, this is really good. I'm clicking it super often. Exiles is one of the best gold combat augments, I feel like. I feel like I'm clicking Exiles a lot more often than like these combat augments down here. So just by virtue of being one of the best gold augments, I'll put it in A tier. Explosive Growth. This is the 3-2 version of Explosive Growth. It's definitely a solid augment to take if you're like poor or trying to like fast 9 or something from like a win streak. How does it compare to like Slammin? It's probably like worse than like a Slammin. I might put it in B tier because it's like probably like a little more situational than like if we compare Epoch Plus, that's like 28 gold on 4-1 versus this is also 28 gold on 4-1, but then this gives more value for the rest of the game. So yeah, we can leave this in the B tier for now, I guess. Same thing with this Explosive Growth. Like this one is awkward because if you're playing level 8, you can't take it. You can only take it for fast 9, but it is one of the best augments you can hit for fast 9. Feed the Flames is, I would say it's like solid, not one of the best of these kind of like gain an item augments. You can definitely take it on 2-1 with like upgraded frontline or some sort of like Slayer opener to try to win streak. It's definitely a win streak augment. So yeah, take this with like a win streak in mind. Forward thinking, I honestly might put this in F tier. Like it really just does like not give that much gold, and yeah, I would say like if you know what you're doing, like you can definitely take this sometimes. Like it's probably like actually a C tier augment, but I feel like for the most people watching this video, like okay, I'll leave it in C tier because yeah, there's definitely some good forward thinking spots, like if you know what you're doing, but yeah, I would be like very careful before taking this augment because you can definitely often lose the game taking it if you take it with like too little HP or Or sometimes if you're strong, like you would rather just take like an augment that actually lets you play the game. So something to keep in mind. Gain 21 gold, very understated econ augment if you compare it to most of the other 3-2 econs, Epoch, Slammin, etc. That being said, when you're poor on 3-2, like you kind of need to take econ. It's probably like low B, high C tier in my mind. Gilded Steel is the new augment. I feel like I feel pretty similarly to like Duo Q for this augment. Like if I need items, then I would take Duo Q, and if I don't need items, then I would take this. So yeah, I think this augment is really solid and stuff like Ionia Bilgewater that can use like a lot of like random 5 costs. Like if you just get like the Orin, the Kindred, the Senna, those kinds of things, they can like really spike your board on stage 4 in those comps. And yeah, I do feel like also like Fast 9. I'm probably taking this augment like fairly often in general, and like in the spot when you're in the spot to take it, it's really good. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Glass Cannon is one of the best combat augments as well. If you have a Gunblade, this is like S tier, but sometimes it feels bad to take this without Gunblade, so I will leave it in A tier. But in terms of raw damage, like this is like one of the best gold combat augments. It probably is the best in terms of raw damage. Gold Destiny, this is the 2-1 Gold Destiny. I think it's pretty solid. I'm clicking it pretty often. Yeah, not too much to say about that. Same thing with this Gold Destiny Plus. Like, I feel like these are just like if you don't get offered like an econ augment, but you kind of want some money, then you would just like take it and then like hope for an econ augment. So does that mean it's B tier? Maybe, but I would feel better taking it than like Advanced Loan. So I'll just leave it in the A tier. Moving on to Golemify. I think Golemify is like true F tier. There definitely exists like some spots to take it, but yeah, in all my games of this set, like I think I've taken it once and it went pretty poorly. And yeah, I'm definitely skipping it like at least like 95% of the time. So I'll just leave it in F tier because I feel like you're almost never in a spot to take it. Hard Bargain is a solid econ augment. It doesn't let you choose your items. That being said, I do feel like it gives like a lot of gold in econ. And if you're playing a comp where choosing your items doesn't matter too much, like let's say something like Bilgewater, because you can just buy items, then I feel like this is like one of the best econs you can hit. And yeah, sometimes you can also just if you have no direction, just like see what items you get dropped off like Krugs or like the first carousel with Hard Bargain, and then choose like a direction based off that. So yeah, I really like this augment, especially for like loose streaking. Like getting the HP back feels like pretty nice when you're loose streaking. Next we have Healing Orbs, another very mid combat augment. I think this is like definitely C tier combat augment. Heart of Steel, this is like I don't really like that much. I think people get like baited into building too many steadfasts with this a lot, and then just like messing up their item economy. So I feel like if I was taking this, like I wouldn't fall into that trap, and I would just play kind of normally and like have like a slightly stronger steadfast. I guess it is kind of similar to Feed the Flames that like it's like a win streak augment, but this one's kind of weird because this is like a stronger win streak augment than this one, right? Like you want to take this to win streak, but it's actually not that strong early, so it's probably like bottom of B, top of C tier. I might just put it in like top of C tier. But yeah, keep in mind that these like C tier augments are like I'm not calling them unclickable. I'm just clicking them like less than B or A or S tier augments. And maybe I'll rearrange some things around at the end of the video. Heavy is the Crown. I'm tempted to put it in B or A tier. I know it's like excellent on Kaisa, and yeah, if you need a backline item, it can be really good. I do actually feel like I'm probably not clicking this like enough. I think I'm gonna put it in A tier just because like it's so good on Void, and yeah, if you're just playing any sort of like backline like Rageblade or like scaling carry, it's like really good. So yeah, pretty much any like Rageblade carry really likes this augment, I would say. Next we have Hefty Rolls. Hefty Rolls is another genuine F tier augment. There's almost no spot that you can ever click this unless you like somehow have Priz Ticket and Hefty Rolls on both on stage 2. Heroic is pretty solid. Usually you want to double dupe something on 2-1, so like a Leona, Draven is probably like the number one example. it can be like okay for 2-cost reroll, but you really want to double dupe like a 3-cost. Otherwise, you're kind of not getting full value from the augment, and you would rather just take like an econ augment at that point and roll for the 2-cost later. All right, hey guys, I'm back on a new browser, and I actually realized that I did miss like a bunch of these augments up here, so we can just go over those really quick, and then we'll go back to heroic. So best friends is a decent combat. I would say in 80 heavy lobbies, this can be like quite good. So I think I will put it in B tier because I feel like if you scout and you see that you're in an 80 heavy lobby, then you're actually like really happy to click this a lot of the time. Big Grab is like a very solid A tier augment that clicking super often. Birthday Reunion, since they made level 9 cheaper again, I feel like this is a pretty solid augment again. I think it's like solidly in the A tier. Blood Offering is probably in the B tier. You're pretty much only taking this playing Slayers, and like when you're playing Slayers, it's nothing crazy, but it is solid, especially for win streaking. I think Bodyguard Training is A tier, really good in lines that just naturally spike on stage 3. So think like Void or Warwick, where you just like spike with your unlockables and you kind of get to like lose stage 2. Or if you're just like strong stage 2, you can also take this and then have like a really strong late game combat augment. And Bringer of Ruin is actually like a really, really strong augment that I like a lot. I think if it gives you any sort of like Briar 2, Scion 2, or like maybe already unlocked the LeBlanc or something, then you're super happy to click this. And late game, it gives like a ton of power to your Otacon. And yeah, Noxus is not a good comp, but this is like a really good augment. And the Bronze for Life 1 is definitely much worse than the Prismatic Bronze for Life. I think it's in the C tier. It's not really worth dropping like or like making a board around Gold Bronze for Life. So yeah, I think I would put it in the C tier. And yeah, usually you're getting like 15% damage amp, like at the most, kind of, without making your board like weaker to get more Bronze for Life stacks. So yeah, going back to heroic, I actually think like I think I will put kind of all of them in the A tier. It kind of depends what you're playing, but I would say like the 2-1-1 is really good for like just like tempoing. As I said, like double Nico at 3-cost on 2-1 and get like a big win streak out of that. And then the plus and plus plus version are like some of the best augments that you can hit when you're playing like reroll, and maybe it's not going like super well, like Ishtal reroll, or if you have like Zahin hero augment, then this is pretty much like the best augment that you can hit. So I do think it's like an A tier augment, but yeah, you're probably not taking it very much outside of reroll, but then when you are rerolling, you're probably taking this like super, super frequently. High Voltage, it's another item to gain a Spark. I feel like usually Void Staff is pretty preferred over Spark in the current meta. I think I'll also put it in the C tier just because, yeah, usually comps like Void Staff more than Spark nowadays. Hustler, I would say I'm quite low on Hustler. I think it's C tier. If you pair it with like a gold generating trait like Bilgewater, Ionia, something like that, then it can be better. Yordle. But I do think that like the change that they made was definitely a huge nerf to Hustler, and I'm not that high on it anymore. Indecision also got like a really big nerf. I think it's in B tier just because, you know, if you have like trash augments, then you can take this and like get a bunch of extra augment rerolls while also getting some gold. Or if you're just like guaranteed to lose the next 3 fights anyways, that it's one of the best things you can hit. Or guaranteed to win the next 3 fights anyways somehow. But yeah, I'm not actually taking this. Like, I think I skipped this a lot more than most people, and yeah, I do value like the tempo of having like an augment on 3-2 instead of having like indecision like most of the time, I would say. Moving on from indecision, we have indiscriminate killer. I think this is like a solid B tier augment. This one's not offered on 2-1, I believe. But the Giant Slayer can be really, really strong. Like the effect of giving damage amp to all enemies instead of just tanks is like really good, because there's like a lot of units that maybe Giant Slayer is like not normally so good on them because they're trying to like kill backline, like something like a Yunara. But then with the indiscriminate killer, it's actually like a very solid augment, or sorry, item on them. And yeah, if you need a damage item, then like whether you're playing AP or AD, I feel like this is usually one of the better things that you can hit. Infinity Protection might be S tier. I think I will put it in S tier just because Warwick and Slayers are so good with it. And like you don't need any board or direction to like click this. Like you can pretty much click this from any spot. So I think I would put this in S tier. I think Ishtal Expeditionist, like if you're comfortable with Ishtal, is also similarly in S tier. Like you can pretty much click this no matter what. And if you like, yeah, maybe you'll low roll your quests and go 8th, but if you actually click the right quests and play the game properly, then you'll win like most of the time. Gold Jewel Lotus, solid combat augment. Um, it's pretty nice when you have stuff like Nashers or Guardbreaker with no like Infinity Edge or Jeweled Gauntlet, or yeah, just if you're even if you have like carries that with like a bunch of like flat stats that can't crit, then it can be like a really big damage increase. Know your enemy. I think it's like B tier. Maybe it's actually C tier. Like the nerf hurt it a lot. It used to be like 10, 18. It was like one of the best augments, like A or S tier back then. But yeah, they give it like quite a significant nerf, I would say. But I do think it's pretty solid. Like being able to see who you'll fight next is actually like extremely valuable if you're like scouting well and positioning well. So yeah, I think it can't really be lower than like B tier. Last second save. I feel like this is a very solid combat augment that I'm quite happy to take most of the time. I think I'll just put it in A tier. Why not? Late game scaling is one of the worst econ options. It gives a lot less econ than something like a, I don't know, like a Slam-In, Epoch, like any of the Clear Mind, Cluttered Minds. I think I'm putting it in the C tier because, yeah, late game it's actually pretty strong, but usually like getting to those like 5 costs is actually the problem. So yeah, and like if you need it in econ augment, like yeah, absolutely you can take late game scaling, but I think it's one of the weaker econs after the nerfs. Legion of Threes, I'm very high on this augment. I'm like kind of tempted to put it S tier. I think I will put it like high A tier. If you have no direction, this is like really good to click, and it's super strong early game. Like if you have like some 3 costs, the amount of stats the augment gives is like absolutely insane. Like you can compare it to like Triforce, which also buffs 3 costs, and it gives like pretty similar stats and an emblem. So yeah, this augment is definitely insane. Lifting competition, I do really like this augment as well. You kind of want like a couple bruisers and probably some AP items when you click it, but yeah, every time I click this augment feels really good. Just play through the LeBlanc, get 6 bruiser, unlock Volibear, try to end in some sort of like Rise Volibear. Little buddies, it does feel like there's not too many spots to take this. I think something like Void can sometimes take little buddies, and yeah, there's a few other comps. Like I've seen people take it in. What else have I seen people take this in? Demacia, I've seen it. Yeah, I think it's like a pretty solid combat augment on 4-2 for a lot of the like level 8 comps. So I'll put it in B tier. Mace's Will is probably similarly going to go in B tier. Like, I think you want to make sure that you're actually using the attack speed well and the crit chance well. So if you have like Infinity Edge or like Jeweled Gauntlet on multiple carries, then this becomes like really good. Or if you just have the ability to build it by taking the Mace's Will, then this becomes like a really strong combat augment. Makeshift armor it's quite situational. Like you pretty much need to have no tank items to want to click this. That being said, if you are in that kind of situation, then it is pretty good. I think I'll leave it like low B tier, but yeah, a lot of these augments like B or C tier, it's just like they're quite situational, but when you're in the situation, they're quite good. So yeah, I don't know if you define that as like a B or a C tier augment, but yeah, I'll put it in B tier just because I do feel like there's some spots where it's like really good. Malicious monetization. If you trusted the stats, this would be like one of the best augments you could see. That being said, it's like an augment that you're only really taking when you're ahead. I think it should be like solidly in. I mean, this like the stats are so good, which is making me want to put it in A tier. But I feel like something like a 3/3s is like obviously it's less gold, but there's a lot less low rolling possible. Maybe I'll put it in A tier. I guess I think stuff like level 8 comps that like to make it to level 9 can use this really well. Like you can roll down and then get all your econ back, which is pretty nice. Like anything like Ionia, Void, Bilgewater, those kinds of comps that you can be strong on level 8, but you still need to like make it to level 9 to cap out. So Shadow Isles as well. Max build got nerfed. That being said, it's definitely not bad. It would probably be A or B tier to me. If you're poor on 4-2, you're definitely clicking this like very often. Also, if you're high rolling, you can definitely play for like 3-star 4 cost. I think I'll leave it in the A tier. It does have like a lot of uses, whether you're low rolling or high rolling. Mess Hall, very good in Yunara, solid in stuff like Warwick and Void. I'll also leave that in the A tier. No Scout, no Pivot. There's really just nothing to play with this augment right now, so I will be putting it in the F tier. Pair of Fours. I'm actually not sure if this is still in the game, but I am quite low on this augment. It's really awkward to play around. Like, there's pretty much no comp that can actually use it. And yeah, I'll leave it in the C tier just like in case you're somehow in a spot to play like 2 forecasts in your board. But I can't even imagine like what comp that would possibly be because pretty much everyone plays like a Swain on their board always. But it does give quite a lot of stats if you are somehow in that spot. So Pandora's Bench. What is this good for? It's good for like ASOL. It's good for re-rolling 3-star forecasts. I don't think there's too many use cases for the augment right now, though, so I'll leave it in C tier. But I think like in other metas, it could be maybe more like B tier. Pandora's items, gold. This is probably an A or a B tier augment to me. I will put it in the B tier, but I do feel like I click this like pretty often. Like if my items are low roll or like 2-1, if you just want to like tempo, like get some slams to like win streak, it can be like a pretty decent option as well. And then since you don't have the carousel prio, then like the Pandora's is pretty nice. Patient Study is A tier with all the other 2-1 econ augments. It's pretty similar level to these like Epoch, Cluttered Mine kind of stuff. I think Cluttered Mine's like the best, but they're all quite similar and probably A tier in my mind. Pilfer I'm super low on. Like I think this has got to be like C tier. It takes way, way, way too long to get the Thieves Gloves. And yeah, you're pretty much getting like 1 gold per turn, which is like on stage 2, which is like raining gold. So yeah, I'm very low on this augment. And you actually have to be strong. Like if you're weak, then you might just kill nothing against a strong guy. Plot Armor. I'm also pretty low on this. I think I'll put it in C tier. I feel like I just get offered this augment a lot, and then I'm just like not really trying to take it. So yeah, I'll put this in C tier. It's like a mid-combat augment. Portable Forge should be solidly in the A tier, especially like melee carries. Really like this. You can hit like mid-ins, DD type of stuff, which is like really solid. And yeah, it's pretty solid on 2-1 in general, just to, like give direction. So definitely an above average augment, especially if you have some like upgrades and you're trying to play the game. Precision and Grace it's very hard to tell like how good this augment is. I've heard people say that it like actively griefs you when playing like melee carry, which I don't entirely agree with. That being said, I don't think it's like anything crazy. I feel like I would put it in the B tier, and yeah, you're probably mostly taking this playing like Slayers or like Echo or maybe Warwick. It's like acceptable as well, but I don't think it's anything crazy. Prep actually gives like a ton of stats, but it's really, really hard to make use of. I'm tempted to put it B tier just because of how many stats it gives, but there's really just not a lot of reroll in the meta right now. Maybe I'll put it B tier just so that when like any sort of reroll comes back to the meta, like this is going to be a really good augment. But yeah, there's just not a lot of reroll in the meta, so definitely not clicking it much right now. But it definitely gives like a ton of stats. Prize Fighter is probably like B tier. Yeah, if you're in a spot to win streak, it's like with some upgrades, it's definitely like a decent click. Nothing crazy. Promise Protection, I'm pretty low on. It's kind of awkward because like Protector's Vow is like a late game tank item that wants to go onto your like Swains and stuff, but Promise Protection only gets offered on like 2-1 and 3-2, which is like very early in the game. So yeah, you would rather have something that like you're clicking item augment to be strong, but then this one doesn't actually make you particularly strong. So I think it is one of the worst of these types of item augments. Pyromaniac, very solid. I think it's B tier. I don't think it's A tier. Sometimes I really like clicking this with like TF though. Like if I'm trying to like lean bilge and then it's just like super strong in the early game, and red buff's like a super solid item in Bilgewater. So that's one spot I really like clicking it in. But yeah, I would imagine it's fine with like Ionia openers and stuff as well. But I don't think it's anything crazy. Raining Gold, it's probably going to be A tier. Just because the value of 2-1 econ augment is so high right now. It's probably worse than like most of these ones up here, but I'll put it like kind of like a low A tier econ augment. Reinforcement is like you kind of take it only when you're like going 8th right now, in my opinion. I guess maybe some fast 9 spots you can like take it and then buy the first forecast you see to stabilize, but I feel like you really don't want to take this if you can avoid it. I will put it in C tier because I feel like after the nerfs, it's quite like a last resort augment. I guess if you're in a spot to play for a 3-star 4 cost, it can also be good, but I'm generally pretty low on it after the nerfs. And we're back. I think we were on Replication, I believe, which is just a solid B tier item augment. Salvage Bin, I'm pretty high on. I will put the normal Salvage Bin in the A tier and Salvage Bin Plus in the B tier. Savings Account may be S tier. I think this is one of the best econ augments, and if it's a gold opener, it just feels so insane. I think I am actually going to put this in my S tier. In a level 8 meta, this is like so good. In pretty much any level 8 comp. I do believe this is a Priz augment. Seraphim Staff is borderline S tier. AP is like fallen a little bit out of the meta, but this is one of the best augments for AP, especially if you can get like multiple Archangels going. I think I'm going to put it in A tier, but like last patch it was probably S tier, but yeah, AP has fallen a bit out of the meta. Like Lysera is not quite as good anymore. Silco's Revenge is pretty decent. You never really want to be playing more than 5 Zons, though. I'll put it in the B tier. Also, Zon kind of wants to like lose early, but then this is like an augment that's mostly like strong early. Both Slammins are going to be like high A tier. Honestly, I might put this in like S tier, just because it's so versatile, and I click it so often, and the S tier is looking a bit lonely. And I do think it's like a step above, you know, like well, maybe Cluttered Mind could also be like on a comparable tier, but where's Cluttered Mind? Did I put it in here? Oh, right there. Yeah, I might move things around a little bit at the very end. We'll see. Soul Leveling is probably S tier right now. Like, if you take this with like 2-star like Kiana or like 1-star Rek'Sai even, it's like really insane and just playing to some sort of like Slayers. So yeah, I think this augment is like really good right now if you're just taking it with like the right units. It is like a little situational. You also need like slam, of course, like good slams, but yeah, and you have a very clear game plan of just like playing into Slayers usually with this. Solo plate. Gargoyles is a bad augment, but this is very strong early, so I think it has to be B tier. Spear's Will is pretty decent, I think. There's also some like yeah, I think this is like A or B tier. I don't know. I maybe it's like it's pretty much just the AD version of Crown's Will, so I'll just put it in B tier. Speedy double kill, very solid. A Rageblade on 2-1 is like never bad for, you know, Void openers, Ionia openers, those kinds of things. You're definitely happy to take this. Spirit Link I really like as a combat augment. I don't think it's quite S tier. But yeah, I might move a few of these A tier augments into the S tier that I feel highest about. Spirit of Redemption is easily A tier, like if not S tier as well. Spoils of War, I will probably be putting in the F tier. I think this augment might like genuinely be unclickable, like even if you're strong. Like you could make an argument for C tier, but I just hate any Spoils of War that's not silver. Spreading Roots and Spreading Roots Plus are easy S tier. Way too much value for a gold augment. Staff Smith is probably S tier. Like pretty much anytime you have some sort of like AP duo carry without items, this is like the best thing you can hit. Stars Are Born is like an easy A tier. Swordsmith, similar to Staffsmith, 4 components for a gold augment is just way too much. I'm clicking this super often on 4-2 when I can use it. I think Golden Dragon is an A tier augment. If you have like upgraded frontliner with like 1 or 2 items, this can be like really good. Ideally, by the end of the game, you reforge the Mogul's Mail and you just get a lot of value and board strength in like stage 3 and 4. But yeah, it's really good in just like Void, Demacia, stuff with like a Giga tank. Ruined King, I will put it in A tier because you do need a few copies of Viego and good items to click it, but it's definitely really good if you're in the spot to click it. It's not so broken that you can kind of click it in any spot though, so I won't put it in S tier. Thorn-Plated Armor is going to be A tier. I would say like the meta's pretty balanced between AD and AP. And yeah, it's like one of, if not the strongest augments for like win streak, but if you're not like, if you don't have an upgraded frontliner, you're not in a spot to win streak, then I would not click it. I would only like, I feel like if I'm clicking Thorn-Plated Armor, I'm expecting to 5 streak. Tons of Stats is, I think it's a little bit better than some of those like mid combat augments. I think it's like a B tier to me. A little bit better than some of these C tier combat augments. Trade Sector is a 2-1 econ augment that is. Oh, I'm scared I'm going to refresh the page and it's going to go away. But there we go. Yeah, I think I would put it in the B tier. Or sorry, in the A tier. Sorry, A tier. Yeah, I think it's like pretty similar to like an Epoch or just like most of these other 2-1 combat econ augments. You might notice a trend that, yeah, 2-1 econ is very important right now. Treasure Hunt, there's no reroll in the meta, and even if there was reroll in the meta, I feel like I'm very low on this augment because you usually don't have enough econ to make like good use of it. So yeah, I think I'm moving it all the way down to like F tier at the moment. They took away the best part of this augment used to be that it gave 2 small Nikos, and it doesn't give that anymore. So yeah, it's pretty bad now. We've got the Trials of Twilight. If you have like a Zin and a Slam, this is like really good. I don't think it's quite S tier. I do see people go 8th a lot with this. Like if you low roll, you don't hit 3-2 econ. Your items aren't good. Like if you click this in a bad spot, like you actually will go 8th. So I'll leave it in the A tier. Trifecta, probably another F tier augment. Moving it all the way down. There's really just no 3-cost reroll in the meta, and even like if 3-cost reroll was good, like I don't think this would be a good augment for it. Maybe like Draven reroll, it would be like acceptable. But yeah, compare the stats. Look, like 220 and 20% to Legion of Threes, which is I believe I put in the A tier, and it gives 212%. So it almost gives the same amount of stats, and you get like a full emblem for free, which is just kind of just insane. So yeah, you can't like can't really be clinking Triforce right now. Next, we're getting near the end. Too Much Value is like an easy S tier. Oh, nice. This time my tier list is saved. Not really sure what's happening. I'll figure that out before the next augment tier list. But yeah, this is like an easy S tier. Super broken for like any sort of Ishtal reroll, Aphelios reroll. Just gives way too much gold for a gold augment. I think Two Trick is solidly in the A tier. If you have no board, this is like pretty decent to take. You probably also want to scout to see the Wabi is weak. Also, it's like money on 2-1, which is, yeah, money is really good. I think I'm quite low on Earth, but I do think if you already have like a few spats, it can be kind of decent sometimes. I'll put it in the C tier. I would almost never take this without like other spats though, unless I was getting like a really, really, really high quality like emblem. Because yeah, one spat for a gold augment is just like too little, and attack speed and mana regen is not super noticeable. Unleash from Steel might be S tier. Like the Darken Bow on Belveth is like absolutely insane. And Slayers are like very in the meta. And you know, even if Slayers slightly fall out of the meta, like Darken Bow Belveth was like always one of the things that made Slayers like jump up like 2 tiers. And Slayers are amazing right now. So yeah, I think this is probably like S tier. Also, Darken Bow Yunara is really good, and Darken Aegis Scion, and even the AP Darken item has been looking like a bit better in the stats recently. Earth's Gambit, I'm tempted to put this in the S tier. I think it's very similar to like exclusive customization. It gives a little less gold, but then often the spat or pan can be more valuable. But yeah, this is like a really, really good augment. There's a lot of really good pans to make. So yeah, just know like the pan outs for your comp, and then you can just like take this, make some sort of like Juggernaut Rift Herald or Juggernaut Garen, or yeah, just like a lot of good pans for like a lot of comps. Bilgewater, you can make like Bruiser emblem, Quick Striker emblem. So many good emblems right now. Walk the True Path. It's very, very hard to make it to level 10 with Ionia. Even a gold farming Ionia, it's very hard to make it there. I'm gonna leave it in the C tier. Even in spots where you think you might make it, like I feel like a lot of the time you don't make it. Like I had one game where I was like 90 HP XP Ionia, like full streaking. Yeah, and I took this on 3-2 and I barely made it to 10 Ionia with 1 life, so with an Ionia emblem. So yeah, I would be very careful before taking this. It's really hard to go straight to level 10 without like Ionia emblem and like a lot of econ. Warlord's Honor is an easy S tier. Just kidding. It's easily in the F tier. This might be like the single worst augment in the game. Gives way too little stats for a gold augment. And it doesn't do anything for 4 rounds, and you can't like change your board. It's just like completely horrible. Warpath is probably like borderline F tier. I think I'm just gonna put it in the F tier because yeah, the cash out is like not even that good, and I feel like you like so often just like go 8th when you take this. And yeah, if the people in your lobby are like actually playing strong boards and playing the game, then you're not gonna have a fun time with Warpath unless you like really high roll, getting like a really useful 2-star 2 cost with like item slam. Wild Growth is also F tier, I think. Yordle reroll is really bad. And this augment does not give that much stats. Like, if you read it, 3580 in AP is like, I guess it's pretty like if you had a bunch of 3-star Yordles, it would actually be really good, but okay, maybe it's C tier just because like Yordle reroll is a horrible comp, but this is actually like a good augment for Yordle reroll. But yeah, it's definitely not very high on the tier list. Worth the wait. I think the buffs helped this a lot. I'm tempted to put it in A tier. It feels kind of borderline like A or B tier to me. I do think like these other generic econs, you're probably clicking more often than Worth the Wait. But I feel like if I have like no board, then I would probably click Worth the Wait over Raining Gold. So yeah, maybe we can just leave it kind of low A tier for now. And lastly, Woven Magic, 4 components for a gold augment, really good. You don't want to take this if you're like weak. I feel like I like taking this with like LeBlanc openers or Oriana openers or those kinds of openers like a lot. Like Invoker feels pretty nice with this. I think it's solidly in the A tier. And let me just zoom out a little bit and see if there's anything that I might want to rearrange. Honestly, this is like a decent number of augments to be in the S tier, I feel like. Yeah, and I would say like the tiers are not really exactly ordered, maybe to like very roughly. But I do feel pretty good about this tier list. So I'll scroll out so you guys can take like a little screenshot if you want. This is going to be the gold augment tier list for set 16. It's like a little bit patch specific, but not quite. So yeah, if you guys want to take like a screenshot of the tier list, and hopefully you can like zoom in and see the augments. And yeah, thank you for watching the video. Appreciate it as always. I'll try to come up with the prismatic augment tier list in the next few days. And yeah, take it easy. Bye bye.